Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Vesta in the 12th house in a natal chart. Now, where Vesta is placed in one's natal chart can show where you have a lot of power of concentration of power, and where you generally don't allow extraneous things to interfere with what you're doing. And it could also show where you have very strong, tremendous focus. Now, if you have Vesta in the 12th house, well, this strong focus and concentration of power can be in matters connected with activities you do in solitude and seclusion. It could even be prison or hospital work, and it could also be matters connected with your limitations and restrictions, perhaps dealing with them. And also, this is the house of fears, so it could really show that strong, perhaps that concentration of perhaps maybe trying to cope with them or trying to deal with those fears. And this is also, 12th house is about hidden adversaries or enemies, and it could be that you really show a lot of focus and concentration in trying to determine who these adversaries may be. If you have like some friends or acquaintances that you're not sure of, you might be spending a lot of time trying to determine if they are actually your friends, if there really are these hidden adversaries. So anyway, also where Vesta is located in our natal charts can show that that rationalized or analyzed sexual partner. It could be that person, that sexual partner you select through the process of rationalization and analysis. And given that Vesta is in the 12th house, this could be a person that you may select that might be very self-sacrificing. It could be somebody that's very private, introverted, but spiritual, perhaps. Keep in mind too that this is the house of Pisces, so there might be some Pisces-like undercurrents here. So it might also be somebody that's very dreamy, a person that might be very passive and compassionate and idealistic and tries to see the best in others. Keep in mind at the same time, this is the house of self-undoing, so you might inadvertently select somebody that might be your own undoing. And this is also the house of limitations and restrictions. So you might wind up selecting somebody that might have some limitation or restriction or some debilitation. Now, where Vesta is placed in one's natal chart can show where you have very strong devotion and dedication. Now, given this is the 12th house, you might show that strong devotion and dedication, perhaps to the paranormal. It could be photography, spirituality, the metaphysical, even prison or hospital work, self-sacrifice, helping those that are less fortunate than you, such as the impoverished, the homeless, or the oppressed. Also, where Vesta is placed in a natal chart can show where you want to be infallible and perfect. I understand hardly anybody is infallible or perfect in any way, shape, or form, but this is where you may often strive to be as close to perfect and infallible as possible. Now, given this is the 12th house, this could be matters pertaining to your private life, behind the scenes activities, things that you do in seclusion and solitude. And anyway, another thing Vesta is associated with is where you don't want to be restricted. And if you have Vesta in the 12th house, this could be matters connected with solid things that you do. I should say it should things that where you don't want to be restricted, and this could be your private time, your time in solitude and seclusion, private activities in general, and matters and things that maybe you do for those less fortunate than yourself. And it might, and anyway, where Vesta is placed in your natal chart also can show where you need to extricate or escape from time to time because your energy might be depleted and dissipated if you don't. So it could even be that time in solitude or seclusion, that introversion time that you need maybe to get away from time to time, or doing things that are connected with self-sacrifice. It might be something where you need to get away from that for a little bit and take time out for yourself. So anyway, well, it's also important to look at the sign that Vesta is in a natal chart, because this could impact the delineation and description. Now, let's say you have Vesta in Aries in the 12th house in your natal chart. Well, this could be somebody that may show a lot of devotion and dedication, perhaps to maybe taking some private martial arts lessons or some private boxing lessons, something connected with combat, fighting, or self-defense. So that would be one example. Now it's also important to look at the aspects, if any, that are made to your Vesta in your 12th house in your natal chart, as this could impact the delineation and description as well. Let's say, for example, you have Pluto making an adverse aspect to your Vesta in your 12th house in your natal chart. Let's say that Pluto makes a square, opposition, or even an inconjunct to your Vesta in the 12th house. Well, this could be someone that may be overly fixated or obsessed with their private life and perhaps matters connected with solitude and seclusion. So that would be one example. And another example could be, let's say that you have Uranus making a sextile or trine to your Vesta in your 12th house in your natal chart. Well, this could add a little bit of ingenuity perhaps to your maybe behind the scenes activities, or just matters that you generally do in solitude or seclusion. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for Vesta in the 12th house in the natal chart. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be starting a new series about what I hate about the zodiac signs, and the first one, of course, will be what I hate about Aries, and then will be followed by what I hate about Taurus, etc. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.